Alright, hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. So, first of all, if you don't want to stay, because this isn't going to be a normal video, this is just sort of a where have I been, what's going on with the channel, what I'd like to do in the future, and so if you don't want to stay because this isn't a tool review or some tech or whatever, then that's totally understandable. Cool. I appreciate you stopping in anyway. But for those of you who want to stay and watch and see what's going on, here's an update. So let's start with what's been happening with me. So first of all, I have some notes because I have several things that I want to talk about. So what's been happening with me? Well, first of all, a lot of you already know that I have rental properties, and I had a couple evictions. And so those took up a lot of time because I'm still at the point in my career where I do a lot of stuff myself. So you can either take your time and do it, or you can pay someone to do it. But you're either paying for it with your time or your money. And at this point in my career, I'm paying for it with my time most of the time. But a lot of the stuff I will do myself, but there's also stuff that I won't do that, you have to have a professional do it and you have to have a permit and all that jazz. And so I just let that person in that specific trade come in and take care of it. So I'm trying to get things paid off and build up some reserves and all that kind of good stuff. One of the evictions, you guys know about the illness that we had a while back, and people were in their houses, and a lot of people lost jobs. And well, this one of the individuals, unfortunately, I mean, he's a really nice guy, and he was really responsible for a long time. Unfortunately, anxiety over that whole situation and money and what was happening in society, I think, just got to him, and he told me about the anxiety that he was having. And I think eventually he started doing some self-medicating because he ended up, well, let's just say he went away for drugs. So unfortunately, that happened. And so that meant some repairs on the place because the police will come in and um, they will do things like taking down, um, switch plates, and they'll take the cover off of your electrical panel and things like that. They'll go digging and try to find spots where someone might hide some contraband. So, they'll look in the toilet tank and just whatever. So you go in there and there's a lot of that kind of stuff that has to be put back in place. So there was a couple evictions, so that took up some time. Later on, I had an issue where I tore my meniscus, and so I was had to take it easy for a while. And then after that, we get into tax season. For me, unfortunately, um, I'm still at that point where I'm doing a lot of the tax stuff myself. I have a professional do it, but I'm still at the stage where I am not paying for some software to put things in and go through. And for me, with my vision, it takes me a while because what I have to do is use a magnifier and look at the receipt, get the information, go to my screen, type it in, go back and find the next piece of information, go to the screen, type it in, and going back and forth. And when you have, hundreds of receipts or whatever, it just takes a while doing that. So I do sometimes get help with doing that, but at some point here, I'm just going to sign up for uh, something like QuickBooks where I can just scan it as I go throughout the year. But that's, I believe, like 20, 30, maybe even $40 now. I can't remember for sure. So that's something I will probably end up doing here pretty soon, because as I get more properties, I have more receipts that I have to go through and sort. So after tax season, I had another eviction, and that was unfortunate, but hey, that's what sometimes happens. You go through spurts where you don't have anything and just things are going great. And then there can be times when you have several vacancies. Someone wants to move out. I've had people move out because they were great tenants, but they wanted to buy a house. A couple that, they were newlyweds. They came in, they rented for a couple years, and then all of a sudden they want to go and buy a house, which is great for them. Sucks for me because they were great tenants, but I am happy for them. So then, after that latest eviction, and I got all through with that, the most recent thing was I got in an accident. And thankfully, myself and the person who was driving were both okay. Um, just, banged up. The vehicle was a loss. So that's unfortunate. But I can't complain because honestly, it turned out to be kind of a blessing because um, I'll just say it. Progressive has been good. I mean, really good. So good, in fact, that I don't want this to sound like a commercial for them because it's not. They have no idea that I'm doing this, but I just want to say that they even changed my perspective on insurance. Because when I was younger, I've been jaded about insurance for a while. Um, I I get it because I mean, well, for auto you have to have it, and um, I know that it's a good idea to have for other things too, like health insurance or property insurance, things like that. So I get the policies, so I always do it, but I always questioned what would happen if I ever had to make a claim, because when I was younger, my mom's car had gotten broken into, and I had electronics, multiple pieces of fairly expensive electronics that I had in a duffel bag because we had just gone on a trip. And so we got back from this trip, and she had parked in the driveway, and someone broke into her car. And so the next morning when we saw it, well, she called the police, and she put in a claim with the insurance company that she had, which I guess I probably shouldn't say because I don't know if I could be sued over that, so I'm not going to say it. But basically, I was really just irritated with the way that was handled because they didn't want to pay for any of my stuff or any of the other stuff that we had in the car that was worth anything. The only thing they wanted to do is they replaced the stereo that was in the car because they broke in and stole the stereo and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, my electronics and things that I had in the car and some other stuff. So I was irritated because they didn't pay for any of that stuff, which, okay, I understand that maybe it says in the policy we're not going to do that. We're not going to pay for anything that's inside the car, only parts of the car itself. Okay, but they said that they would pay for the stereo, but magically the cost of the stereo was exactly the amount of the deductible. So my mom had paid for literal decades on this policy to this company, kept the same company for ages, and they replaced the stereo, but said, oh, but your deductible is that amount. So basically, they didn't pay a dime, and and I'm sure her premiums went up. So she would have been better off not even dealing with the insurance company, having to wait for them to do things. And then when she paid for the repairs and they reimbursed her, well, it would have been better off going through that whole rigmarole just to go ahead and replace the stereo herself. So to me, it felt like she wasted decades of premiums. Like, okay, why would a person even pay for this insurance? It's just a scam, is how I felt. So, uh, what Progressive has done for me has been just night and day. I mean, just way better. So, um, shout out to Alexis and Megan. I mean, they have been awesome. So, sorry, tangent over. Let's get back to what's going on with me and what's going on with the channel. Okay, so I want your guys' input on the channel. I have a ton of ideas. I have a ton of things that um, I would like to review. I have some tech that I'd like to review, and I just haven't been able to yet, including some microphones and uh, a lot of different things. And then I also have tools, of course, uh, including I have a little baby chainsaw that I bought, as Sarah from the Tool Show would say. So I feel very blessed that I've met those guys. I didn't meet Sarah because I believe she was sick at the time, but I met Rob from Tool Show. I met Clint from Tool Review Zone and Vince from VCG Construction, all down at a meetup that they had down at Ohio Power Tool, and that was really cool. So anyway, and Rob, that video is coming. He's graciously letting me use some clips in an upcoming video, so I'm excited to do that. And so it's coming, buddy. I'm just trying to get through all the other stuff in my life right now, and I plan on making that video ASAP. So something I want to get some opinions on. So let me know what you think if you have an opinion on podcasts. Because something I've been thinking about doing is not just continuing to do the videos that I've been doing that are pre-planned, and you have maybe 10 or 15 minutes, just depending on how long that particular subject warrants. But I was also thinking about doing podcasts where maybe I can do guests and do longer things where I'm not necessarily doing a bunch of editing, because that's a whole nother thing that I would like opinions on. I started thinking about what drew me to YouTube, because YouTube used to be what I used to think of YouTube as was goofy cat videos and a place for people to upload their graduation open houses and, weddings and things like that, and like share with their friends. But I didn't really think of it back then as almost like a replacement for Netflix or Hulu or TV or whatever. But now it's kind of turned into that for me. I still watch some things on streaming services, but I watch a lot of YouTube. And I was thinking about the things that I watched and what really drew me in when I was first starting. And part of that, I think, is just authenticity. One of the first channels that I started watching was Wrangler Star, and he does edit, but he'll leave in mistakes. He doesn't have it to where it's not like Mr. Beast or some of these other channels where it's just boom, 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 just constant noises and constant changing, constant things of popping on the screen. It's more just relaxed. And I'm thinking that I like the idea of kind of going back to that. I did more of that when I first started, and that was more of just, hey, it's just us hanging out, and we're not trying to go for cutting to different camera shots every every 2 seconds and popping things on the screen and noises every half a second. Some of these things, it just seems like it's overwhelming. And so I would like your thoughts on that if you have them, and what you think about the idea of doing podcasts. Okay, this is a bit of a touchy subject. I don't know how to bring it up exactly, but I'll just say it. I would like to ask your opinion on things like Patreon or channel memberships, because I've always felt awkward about asking for any kind of donations. And I've just been waiting, I'm hoping, and one of these days I will get into the YouTube partner program where I'll start getting paid by advertisements just for people watching. But I have thought about doing a Patreon or something like that. So I'd like your opinion on that because I feel a little bit awkward. I want to, especially when I haven't uploaded a video in so long, I want to be able to put out value if I'm going to ask for money in return. Sorry about that, guys. Someone went by with a loud stereo. Anyway, so my point being with that is that I would like to be able to, my dream is I would like to be able to get paid for doing this, whether it's through donations or just YouTube AdSense or other means, or maybe a mix, and be able to concentrate more on doing this and making more and better videos. So if you have thoughts on that, let me know. Uh, would I come off as being stingy asking for donations? Um, if I started a Patreon page, I don't know. What do you think? Another thing is, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you already know that I often will say something along the lines of, "Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here." And someone had commented that I shouldn't do that because they didn't think it was sincere. But here's the thing. I mean, that's, again, I want to be authentic. And I really do appreciate people watching the video because if you ask me, time is about the most valuable thing that you can give somebody. It doesn't matter how rich you are, you can't buy more hours in a day or more days in a year. So I really do appreciate the folks that watch, and there's some of you that just comment on every video, and I really appreciate it. I really so I understand maybe some people may be skeptical and think that that's not sincere, but it is. So, what are your thoughts? Should I skip right past it? Because there might also be people that just don't watch because, you know, people are so used to now on YouTube being able to turn something on and right away it's like boom, 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 like Mr. Beast style. Um, you're getting right to the content. But at the same time, I don't know. I just want to express my appreciation for people watching. So if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. And I guess that's about all that I can think of right now. So I do plan on coming out with more videos. I'm working on them and I'm hoping to get them out very soon. And again, I appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions or any comments about any of this, please drop them in the comments. Let's talk down there. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.